Protagonist, the very face of the franchise, some people might even say the very heart and soul of the story. And as gamers, we love these characters, we want to know more about them, and often we keep coming back to these franchises for these characters. But there's been a change in the gaming industry, and I'm sure you guys have noticed as well. My name is Isaac, and today we're going to be discussing why switching protagonists doesn't work most of the time, but can work some of the time. Before we get started, if you could drop a like and sub, that would be fantastic. Changing protagonists isn't something brand new and is done for multiple reasons. Believe it or not, it isn't just DEI. Just naming a few, we have Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, where we play as Rivet, Infamous Second Son, where we play as Delsin Rowe with cool new smoke powers, The Last of Us, Spider-Man, Ghost of Yotei, and even Ninja Gaiden 4 is getting a facelift, and it seems like God of War is next. Today I'm going to be exploring why some of these changes work and others do not. Let's take Infamous for example. By the end of the second game, Cole is so powerful that you're practically a god. How do you make a third installment with a character that is already busted? You don't. You give the people a new character. When you look at a franchise like The Last of Us, which in my opinion is a franchise that is held up by its story and characters, the first game introduces us to Joel, a grizzled middle-aged man that has the resolve I think most of us wish we had. And with the introduction of Joel came a mostly older male audience. Second game comes out, they kill Joel, and you play as Ellie. Now your survival / let's build something greater together story is a revenge story. And honestly, I'm a 32-year-old man, I have no interest in being Ellie, especially after being Joel for so long. On the flip side, you have Ratchet & Clank. Now, for anyone who's been playing since the PS2 era, you would notice that there's been a following trail of sadness that just surrounds Ratchet throughout all of the games because he's the last of his kind. So by adding Rivet to the game, you're actually adding more to the lore of the game as well. But then you have Ghost of Yotei, which essentially jumps 300 years into the future, and it just feels like Jin Sakai has been erased. What is the difference between all of these games? Infamous, Ninja Gaiden 4, and Devil May Cry. Now, the internet wasn't very happy with the character changing when the franchises initially made their presentation, but many years after release, the games have managed to withstand the test of time, excluding Ninja Gaiden 4 of course, because that is a fairly recent game. Starting off with DMC, you start the game with a pretty slow cutscene in a church following Nero, only to have the church sermon interrupted by after that you fight Dante as a tutorial boss and it feels like you're being toyed with. You go through half the game as Nero, struggling against bosses, only to play as Dante and literally stomp out everything in your way while looking cool. Next up, Infamous. By the end of the second game, having chosen the bad ending, you're basically a god of thunder, or a person that sacrificed himself for the greater good, which doesn't leave a lot of room for a third installment. In Infamous Second Son, you play as Delsin a few years after the second game, and the world has been changed, all due to the actions of your previous character. Lastly, Ninja Gaiden 4. This time around, you play most of the game as Yakumo, a ninja from the Raven Clan. Playing the game on normal offers a decent challenge, a few hits could mean the end of you, and some enemies could take quite a bit of damage before they go down. And then they let you play as Ryu.
Oh my god, he's so goddamn cool!
Playing as Ryu is essentially playing the game on easy mode. As the Dragon Ninja, you do more damage, but also take less damage. A big complaint people had was that Ryu only had one weapon. Well, that's because he only needs one weapon. Every time you play as Ryu, you feel like a master ninja. On the other hand, you have Ghost of Yotei that essentially kills Jin Sakai and finishes story, even though it felt like he had plenty of story to give, just to give us another character that essentially plays like him. And I know there's different weapons in the game, but you did remove the stance system, so if you're going to remove the stances, to replace them with weapons, this isn't a upwards trajectory. This is like a sideways movement in terms of progression. In terms of your upgrade, you're going from right to left, not going upwards. The Last of Us kill off Joel to make us play a character that essentially plays exactly like him, but is now a woman. Why?
Why?
And let's not forget God of War Ragnarok, where they're slowly doing a character shift, where they have you playing as Atreus and Kratos. And I'm gonna be very transparent over here and say it right away. I did enjoy most of the Atreus moments in the game, but there were some of them that just played like complete ass. And wasn't a good time, wasn't happy at all. Again, my question is, why do some of these games work and some of them just don't?
Why, Mr. Anderson? Why? Why do you persist?
Well, I'm about to tell you why. Because Infamous, Devil May Cry, Ninja Gaiden 4, when they do a protagonist switch, when they want to transition from one character to another, from one story to the other, they don't do it at the cost of the original character. In DMC4, every time Dante's on screen, it's pure cinema, and the entire game feels like a joke to him. In DMC5, Dante reaches a new peak of power and finally reconciles with his brother and finishes the game in hell, defending the human world from another demon invasion.
Score for Dante. I'm up one. Where did you learn to count? We're even. You know, I'm starting to think this is never gonna end. Maybe. We got plenty of time. Don't you dare say it, jackpot!
Infamous Second Son. Everything that is currently happening in the game is because of Cole. The laws have changed, the invention of the DUP, all of it is because of Cole's actions. When it comes to Ninja Gaiden 4, regardless of the difficulty you play on, as Ryu, it's like bringing the difficulty of the game down by 1. And what does the competition do? Well, they just erase the legacy character, give us a new one that plays basically exactly the same as the last one, and then expect us to care. But more importantly, they expect us to spend money.
Brother, what's that?
There's a new God of War game coming out soon, relatively, and it's pretty much been confirmed that Kratos is not going to be the protagonist. It's actually going to be Faye, his wife that passed away from the Norse saga. And the game is going to be a prequel, so I seriously doubt that the game is going to ruin Kratos' character in any way. The only thing that I'm concerned about is that if the game sells well, and I'm fairly certain it will, I have an inkling feeling that this game is going to do extremely well. This will only be the beginning of the changes that we're going to start to see. My message to game developers everywhere, there's no issue, there's no problem with you guys changing your protagonist. It can actually be very refreshing. You know, look at Hollow Knight and Silksong, it's two different protagonists. Nobody's upset about it. The one ask I have of you guys is, don't change protagonists at the costs of your legacy characters, because your legacy characters is often the reason why you guys can even be in a position where you can change your characters. That's gonna be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Are you guys excited for the new God of War game? I am, and I'm okay with that. While you're down there, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, because it puts a smile on my face. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Let's hit 500 subs.